So here I am, growing older all the time, looking older all the time, feeling younger in my mind. We're about to take up some of your time with a couple friends of mine. One of them's Matt, one of them's Liam. We're holding on to what I am, pretending we are Superman. Hello and welcome to the Dad and Sons podcast.
The George Weidman 31-year spectacular.
Don't say that number! Ah!
Happy birthday, George.
Right.
You're only 31, George?
Yeah, I guess.
I know, right?
Guess.
He's still
That's
a baby.
not that. George, you know I'm older than you, right?
I don't like thinking about it, though.
Wait, you want
I
to be
didn't know I
older
was
than
older.
that?
I didn't know I was older than George. Matthew is the oldest one on the podcast.
That is going to shock some people.
That's shocking me. That's shocking me.
What else will be shocking people is I actually have good audio for once.
Liam, you sound so much better.
I know.
I just can't believe it. And this wasn't even that fancy of a change either. It's just like placement and positioning and the poop filter.
I figured out how computers work. Finally.
You called up your grandson to help you fix the computer.
I've turned 30 and I've joined you guys in calling up my grandson to help fix my emails.
So Liam has a fancy armature now and a pop filter. Same microphone, but I cannot believe what
I
a
know,
difference
it's
that
crazy.
made. Just those two items
I've done
are like
some
night and day.
some spiritual blood magic to get better. I can't fix my voice though. Sorry, everybody. I'm still the whiny English guy.
No.
Really? No.
Yes.
Sexy beast.
I don't have those deep, dulcet tones.
Well,
like George.
I feel like I can turn them off and on, depending on whether or not I'm like angry at the moment.
Like a South Park character.
What are we
doing here?
What do we want to get into here? We're getting older all the time, but we're feeling younger in our mind.
I played a lot of games this week. You'll be surprised.
I played some games.
All I've
Played some
seen
games.
Matt do all week is play Hunt Showdown.
I played Hunt
Listen,
Showdown.
That was for the
and-
community. That was for the Discord, the dad and sons and daughters.
And daughters.
We played some Unfortunate Spaceman, which I got destroyed in.
Oh, I'm jealous. That looks
I
like
did not know how to play that game.
fun. It didn't hook you?
Was you the unfortunate spaceman?
No, it was fun. I had to go early, but like we had like a few games and I didn't know how to play at all. And then the people who did know how to play, you could see they knew how to play. They
Is it
had
not
their
cooperative?
perks up and everything. Yeah. I played a monster one time and got destroyed. I was like, when do I do this? How do I do this? Like, it doesn't even give you like how I had to like alt tab and say, all right, how do I change into a monster?
We kind of breezed over the title. This is Unfortunate Spaceman.
Yeah.
A Trouble in Terrorist Town like game, but with polish and graphics, and humor.
And it's free.
I really like. Oh shit! I didn't know that too. The bullet points keep going.
I did know that, and that's the only part of the game I know about. How do you play? What do you play? I thought it was cooperative. Somebody mentioned.
It is.
I don't know. It is. Okay.
It's like Dead by Daylight, right? Where one person plays
okay,
the evil
okay.
person. Except the spacemen are there's a lot of them. You can have
They're very unlucky.
yeah. I think they're like, I mean, we had like 10 or 12 spacemen and then like one monster. So you're going around and completing objectives, and the monster is trying to catch you off guard, you know? Like, so the monster is one of the spacemen, right? And you don't know until it changes. Yeah.
Oh.
And
That's
you can
cool.
disguise yourself as different spacemen after you've killed someone too. You do it from the beginning anyway, but like you can kill someone and like disguise one of the security bots, anything. Go through the vents, the vents to get to different parts of the spaceship or the map. The spaceship was probably like the scariest one because it's like super dark. But like we started playing on this open map, which was significantly more harder to just openly attack people.
So it feels cooperative, except one of your teammates is lying to you and trying to
Yes.
sabotage
Yes.
you.
And we
That
only
is
used
really cool.
we only use in-game chat, so it's proximity chat. So it was
Yeah,
it
Hi,
was
Mr.
it was pretty
Spaceman.
good. It was pretty good, man. It was a pretty good time. It was a really good time.
How does it play then? How, like, obviously, yeah, what are you doing? Apart from obviously trying to find the monster, but what are you doing? Is there like mobs that you have to keep taking out?
It's weird objectives like clean up debris and communication shit, just to get the shuttle to come. And once the shuttle comes, you get on, and the monster could get on with you if you if they want, and it does a scan to see if one of them are the monster, but you can also attack them while they're in there too. So like, I don't know, like it's basically you do objectives, a ship comes and takes you off home. You got to make sure that you find the monster before then, or kill the monster before then, or get away. Yeah, and that's pretty much it.
I love it that it seems like a lot of quirky FPS games that are big on mind games and deception and stuff is a thing right now. I don't know if you want to consider Valorant part of this trend, but it seems like remember when Rainbow Six Siege came out and there was a controversy over how it had no single player mode, and that struck me as kind of weird growing up in the age where Counter-Strike and Quake engine style games were coming out with no single player by the boatload. But I think we're back now, full circle. Multiplayer only, quirky novelty modes are like fine.
There's a lot of unexplored territory, and games like this are starting to do that, and it is super unique. Like, I think Dead by Daylight has kind of sparked some creative imagination in what you can do. I mean, you don't always have to do the what was that game called? The one with the giant monster. What's it called?
Evolve.
Evolve, yeah. Like, you don't always have to do that. Like 1 versus 10, and you're super overpowered.
It almost feels like Evolve could have worked had history gone.
Oh man,
if
Evolve had come out now, I think it would have done okay, right? But
I feel like Evolve was just slightly off.
it was generic though. It was rather generic. Giant monster, chasing people.
Well, Dead by Daylight succeeded, and I think.
Yeah, but it succeeds on its horror element, right? It's not necessarily just the gameplay. It succeeds in creating an atmosphere that horror games, well, horror in general is known for, which is being chased, right? The anticipation of being chased. And you're not necessarily taking out the monster, you're just basically trying to survive, which I think is a flip on that. And that's why maybe that is a bit more appealing in comparison.
Yeah.
Yes. I was just wondering why that game is so incredibly popular and successful as it is. And even if you...
Is it free? It's not free, right?
I think it's cheap, but they make their money with the DLC.
It's free on Xbox Pass. I think it's,
okay.
Yeah. So a lot of people can play it.
See, that's the thing. A lot of these games have the barrier of entry of only knowing people, which is tough, right? But I complained about it last week being in this time zone, but yeah.
I swear if you ask most people, they'll tell you that the gameplay in Dead by Daylight is like just kind of fine. Like it's okay and good, but not great. Even the like super dedicated fans I know who play it regularly and have like wanted to get me into it will openly admit that it's still kind of not the galaxy-brained, depth and complex 4D chess sort of experience.
But that helps it, right? That barrier to entry is even smaller.
Way more popular than you'd expect it.
Because it's
quirky,
simple. I mean, we talked about Fall Guys a lot, right? Like, we're not just, they're very well polished, but the actual like ability to... It's like Matt's talking about this game, right? And he, even after a couple of games, doesn't quite understand how to play and what the difference between a good player is and somebody who isn't.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you
can tell the difference though. When people play as a monster, you can tell the fucking difference.
Yeah.
Like they like come out, they eat you, and then they go back to in the floor or whatever craziness they figured out, and they heal and they wait for their chance again. Like they know exactly what areas like people are going to be alone at. It's You can tell.
How do they force the unfortunate spacemen to split up? Split up, gang. We'll cover more ground that way.
This is normally like people just think that they can just go on their own. It's some people are just kind of okay with going on their own. Like it's subconscious, I think. Some people stay with each other regardless the whole time.
Is there like AI mob enemies alongside the monster?
There's security bots, but not on all
Okay.
maps. On the second map we played, there were security bots, and the way that one of the guys got me, one of the sons, and they they popped in as a security bot and walked straight into the wall and turned around and looked at me, and I was like, that looks suspect. And it just fucking explodes into a monster. I'm waiting for a new weapon.
Yeah.
So every time a
Emergent
new
gameplay.
weapon spawns, because you only spawn with a pistol, a new weapon spawns on the map and you go towards the new weapon. The monster also knows what the new weapon is. So I'm going to get the shotgun, and the security bot walks in and just fucking explodes into a monster and eats me. I die immediately.
That'll
Immediately.
teach you to trust the security apparatus of the authorities.
Yes. I already had an excuse, but yeah.
Yes.
Now I'm
yes.
really I really don't care.
So, but was it fun? Like ultimately,
Yeah, it was
Was it fun?
absolutely. But most of the games we play on the Discord is pretty fun. But
it's
yeah,
super
like,
fun,
it's-
right? Yeah, and
yeah,
I think that speaks to why these games are super popular, right? Like
Yeah.
community co-op and community. When you maybe like you were talking about Valorant before we jumped on, right? And it's kind of hit and miss whether you're going to get somebody who's abusive or somebody who's not. But like if you're playing even competitive games with people
Yeah.
if you're playing with George, it can be a bit of a handful sometimes.
Mhm.
What?
The
No.
abuse is overflowing, but
Mhm.
Nuh-uh. I'm a perfectly graceful loser who never gets salty when things aren't going my way.
your graceful loser is the opposite of what you are.
I am a very friendly, competitive personality.
But generally, if you play with
Mhm.
people, generally there are exceptions to the rule.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a great time, regardless if it's
Yeah.
co-op or. And that's the thing about having this Patreon Discord. If you need people to play games with, we have people playing games all the time in that Discord, and it is fucking great.
How do these unfortunate spacemen make their money if their video game is free to play?
I didn't see a store, but I guess it wasn't in my face.
Okay. Is there like a progression system going on?
There's
You have
progression.
to unlock a bunch of stuff.
They never said buy this. There's also like a bunch of stuff you can customize your ship character, your spaceship character with.
Yeah, I like these
Or
helmets. I see
astronauts.
they
Yeah.
There is
They
a
have
death
quite a
proof
few
edition.
opportunities.
So there is an edition of the game that you can pay for.
death.
Yeah. And it's $20. So in that you get unique shit. So kind of like a founders pack. Do you remember founders packs? Do you remember when that was a big deal with early access titles? Founders
Yeah.
packs.
My gosh, man. What happened to video games?
It's funny because it kind of ties into the game I want to talk about this
Yeah.
week, but it's short because this game came out in early access and like has fuck all content in it, which is really frustrating and kind of
Really?
yeah.
Which one?
So
Oh yeah, but it was early access. You can't be frustrated.
well, okay,
I know.
no, not Risk of Rain. No, so I did pick up Risk of Rain, but I mean, I really enjoyed playing it solo so far, but it is tough, and like I feel like it would be better with multiplayer. So I'm kind of waiting for a time when we can have a session in the Discord. A couple of people have
Yeah.
reached out to say they want to play it, so that's cool. But no, I downloaded Rogue Legacy 2.
I thought we were on that last week.
No, so it
Mhm.
was coming out. It was coming out.
Oh,
I did-
okay.
I was looking forward to it because I really liked the first game. Obviously, it was one of the games that came out around the same, or maybe just after like Super Meat Boy, and
Mhm.
maybe a couple of years
Oh.
actually after that. But
I
it
remember
was kind
saying
of
that.
one
It
of
was
the
looking a little
early.
rough. Looking a little fucking rough.
Yeah, it was one of the early indie titles, right? That did.
Always like the pixel art.
Yeah. So Rogue Legacy 1, which I guess we need to now call it because 2 is out, was a really good game. And, kind of kickstarted this roguelike thing alongside Spelunky of being quite popular, this niche genre now overtaking the world. So the second one was coming, and the mechanics looks the same as the original, but, expanded upon with more types of disabilities, quote unquote. And also, additional classes, I think. Downloaded it. It's $20. That's fair. And it's an early access, right? So they're obviously going to be working on it. And I will admit, let me double check. How many hours have I actually played it on Steam? Because I have played it for a fair bit. So I played 4 hours of it, right? So it's still early access, but I played 4 hours of it. And if anybody who knows what Rogue Legacy is like, if you imagine just the first castle of Rogue Legacy that you have to try and get through. So obviously it's a roguelite, so we call them biomes. First biome is the castle. Well, Rogue Legacy 2 is basically only the castle biome so far. So even when you get to there's a bridge and you can kind of go to the third area of the game, the second area doesn't exist at the moment, and you can get a sneak preview of the third area, but it's not finished. So you're essentially just getting the first area of this game. It's randomly generated, so every time is different. But once you sort of figure it out, like you do with Rogue Legacy 1, it's rather easy, and it takes about 10 minutes to get through. So you're basically only paying for 10 minutes, and you're just farming for gold so you can get more items. But there's kind of a cap on the amount of items you can get, amount of upgrades you can do on your castle and stuff like that, because obviously the content in the game can only go so far. So at the moment...
So basically play Dead Cells instead.
It's still good, though. So this is the thing, right? I'm not upset, because you should expect it with early access, right? And that's what early access is. It's what it says on the tin. You're getting a sneak preview of a game. And I'm totally all for early access, because it gives the opportunities for devs to release games and reap profit to continue on development. That is totally fine. But, Rogue Legacy 1 was a massive success. You think Rogue Legacy 2 at least have enough funding to be... I know they made another game prior to this, after Rogue Legacy 1, that didn't do so well, so maybe they needed the money. But the game is really good. It's like Rogue Legacy 1, but better. And actually, I really like the artwork. The new artwork in HD, not in a trailer, in front of you, really pops, and it really suits the game style. It's still kind of quirky. Some of the new disabilities or whatever you want to call them,
disabilities
are really cool. Synesthesia is really unique, and there's a Game Boy effect one that's called nostalgia. And there's all sorts.
Really, it makes everything green.
Yes, it does. It makes everything green. It's the worst shader effect ever. But it there's one that makes everything bloom really badly. A couple of them give you headaches. They really fuck with the screen a lot. That it almost is headache inducing. And I think they had to turn a couple off because it actually was giving people headaches and they were reporting it. So be careful of that. But it's good fun, and it's really tight, and it's just more Rogue Legacy, but with additional features. And I'm sad just because I'm beasting through the castle now with the Ranger class, which is easily the best class. And I'm flying through the castle, and there's all sorts of new power-ups you can get when you do these trials. So you can find a dash power-up, but to get the dash power-up permanently, you have to go through this really long trial, and to do the trial you basically have to fail it a couple of times to understand the layout of the area, because that never changes even though it's randomly generated. And yeah, it's really good, and I'm really enjoying it. I just wish there was more. And the teasing fact is they have a patch notes thing right on the front of the screen when you load it, which is great, but it's days until next expected patch, and it's 60 days. And I'm 60 days is so long away. I want more content now. But it's good. So if you like the first game and you don't mind the fact that it's a sneak preview of what the full game might be eventually, this is a good game. I'm actually quite impressed so far. I think the art looks really nice. It is definitely more of the same, though.
I was just about to ask how you think of the art, because one of the... I really, really enjoyed crisp, clean pixel art of the original game. saw some screenshots of the new one and was like, ah.
Yeah, no,
But
I was
then when I
completely
saw
put
it
off.
in motion, it was totally different.
I was completely put off
Mm.
until I started playing it. And when I saw it in action, it is really gorgeous. It's
Yeah.
really nice. And some of the new effects they do, like fire and stuff, looks really good.
It's one of those games that looks very different in motion than in screenshots.
It looks like free-to-play mobile title, like that cartoony pop art feel to it, like thick black lines, kind of Family Guy almost in look, you
Reminds
know?
me of the Behemoth or Newgrounds.
Yes, it's a little on that and a little on the Family Guy side of things, right? It's like dead in the middle of
The
that.
Family Guy side of things is something I'm going to be using from here on out. Thank you for that.
But then when you play it and you see it in motion, it looks really nice, and the effects in the game look really nice. The animations are super nice. It's Rogue Legacy with a lot more polish on top of it.
Yeah, it does look good.
And I'm really enjoying it. I just can't play anymore because I kind of played all of the content there is now, and that was only like 4 hours, which is fine. You know, I'll play another 4 hours in 60 days. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I guess so.
I just want more.
I guess. I mean,
Hey, Celador Games. I want more. I played a lot of games this week, guys. It's a surprise.
You're going to have to carry us, I think.
It's like a carry-on.
I just played the same from last week and watched a documentary that I'll talk about a bit, but that's neither exciting. I'm not exciting this week. You're exciting this week.
Okay, so alongside Rogue Legacy, I played a lot of Oz games. So Risk of Rain, Rogue Legacy, Ring Fit Adventure. I bought Ring Fit.
I wish I had bought Ring Fit a long while ago.
So-
I bet if I had done that, I would have been happier today.
I'm not surprised. It's expensive.
Did you have a hard time finding it?
Oh, that Switch game. Oh.
Yeah. So it finally came. Yeah, so I got a notification on Amazon that it was in stock.
Oh, good.
And it was like
The factories
$120.
got fixed.
And I was like, oh.
Jesus.
Oh, that is expensive. And I was like, do you know what? Fuck it. If I pay a lot for it, then maybe I'll be more inclined to use it.
Maybe it'll be better.
That never works. But I got it and it came and I was like, okay, it's 2 peripheral bits, one that you wrap around your leg with a Joy-Con in it, and then one that's a big ring fit, and then you put the Joy-Con into it. And I don't know what to expect. I've seen videos of it and I was kind of intrigued when it first came out, but just like Matt, go to the gym, lift weights and stuff, kind of like have experience with exercise, exercise. And I was wondering, is this going to help be more consistent routine
Hardcore.
indoors? Because I can't go to the gym and stuff like that. And, put on a few of those old quarantine pounds that I want to get rid of.
Mhm.
This game kicks your ass.
Good.
It is mind-blowing how good this game is at getting you moving. It is absolutely fantastic. I honestly don't have a bad word to say about it. It's so good. Like, you want to burn 300 calories a day? 50 minutes to an hour of Ring Fit? You're flying, right? That's, you could run on a treadmill for an hour, but it's fucking boring as hell.
What do they get you doing?
Well, they have
How does it work?
they have a lot of content in there, right? And in the beginning, it's kind of overwhelming, but it kind of directs you in a good way, typical Nintendo way of doing things. But they have an adventure mode, which is like an RPG. It's almost like what's that game? The Sega Saturn on Panzer Dragoon, right? On rails RPG where you're shooting things, but you're doing that whilst running. So you're running on the spot, and it really can tell how hard you're running. Like if you're lifting your knees, if you're moving at pace, it knows because there's a Joy-Con with a gyrometer strapped onto your leg.
And you're like swinging it as your legs go back and forth.
So while you're running,
makes
you're holding the
the
ring
ring.
in front of you, right? And then you squeeze the ring to like blow blasts of air, and then you can pull it to like vacuum up stuff, right? Kind of like a big Luigi's Mansion vacuum, sucking things up. It really works. And the technology typical to Nintendo from what they've learned from the Wii and stuff like that is amazing. It's completely one-to-one. And depending on, the different settings you have, the ring you have changes like the tension, right? How much you grab it, the resistance changes. So it's like a real true resistance band. And on the strongest setting, which I have it on, it is fucking hard to pull that thing apart or to, press it in. It really is quite amazing how it works. And it's just got a little Joy-Con in it, holding into it solid in place. And you're throwing this thing about and, nothing goes wrong with it. But anyway, so what you do is when you're on the adventure mode, you attack enemies, right? You run into random battles. Not random, you can see them, but, RPG style random encounters. And you have to then fight them by doing exercises, right? So each of your exercises has like an attack power, right? So you'll get to choose almost like an RPG combat attack. So you'll do like a squat, right? And the squat will have an attack power of 30. And the idea is that you choose squat, choose the enemy you want to attack, and then you do like 30 squats. And every time you do a squat, it like deals damage to the enemy. It's fucking amazing, right? And it fucking hurts. When you've got it on like quite a difficult setting, it requires you to do like 30 squats, but you're holding it and it has like a timer, right? It has this, the game is full of polish. It's so well polished. You can feel the rumble, like that HD rumble in the thing. And as you're holding it, if the lower you are, the better. Like you go Super Saiyan almost. And like it builds up and you can feel it and you're holding it and you can feel it rumbling like to a build up. And then as soon as it's like release and you're like, and then you do it again and you're like, it's like powering up and you're like, and it's great. And you deal damage and it feels good because, you let go of the squat and then the rumble hits and the enemy, you deal a punch to the enemy and it's really quite superb. So you have all different types of exercises, cardio exercises. So it'll ask you to do knee lifts and, it does reps of these things. So you do like 30 knee lifts and that fucking gets you sweating. There's stuff that makes you push and pull in the ring. So like you'd have to do like, almost if you're doing resistance band work for like your biceps, like you have to do like in and out, like holding it in and you're like, your arms are starting to give way and your shoulders ache, but you've got to keep the resistance in to deal the most damage to the enemy. It's pretty crazy. So the better you do at the exercise, the more damage you do to the enemy. And the game can really tell when you're slacking off. If I'm barely pushing that thing in, the game knows it. So I have to really squeeze it and I really have to hold it tight for like 10 seconds and then let go. And I'm absolutely knackered. So you can go through the adventure mode and it has like a story and you're beating this really buff, sexy dragon up. Because of course he's a buff, sexy dragon. And it's really charming.
I didn't know that Nintendo was branching out to that segment of their audience. Again, this time, I guess.
Oh, yeah, they branched out hard and it paid off. That dragon is buff and sexy, Dradnell, whatever his name is.
Oh.
Typical Nintendo polish about things. It kind of looks a little like a Zelda game, if I'm honest. The environments are gorgeous. And the character models remind me of Skyward Sword Zelda. Looks great. And then, man, it gets you jogging between enemies. So while you run into enemies, you're jogging the whole time and you're like vacuuming things up. So you're pushing and pulling on this really tight resistance band. And it's pretty crazy. So you'll go through the adventure mode. It'll ask you to do different types of things. But then on top of that, it has like custom workout mode. So you can select sets to do different parts of the body. So you can choose the upper body set and then it'll give you a load of workout for reps for different workouts for your upper body. So, different yoga poses or different like reps of like closing and opening the resistance band. And it's honestly amazing. Like I'm so impressed with it. And I've used it every single day since I had it. And my legs and my arms just ache by the end.
Yeah.
And I'm buckets of sweat doing like 300 to 350 to 400 calories a day. It's good shit. Like if you are struggling during quarantine with exercising and you really want to make sure that you're at least looking after yourself or getting in some exercise in a fun way, because I know cardio is the worst shit in the world. It's so boring. I fucking hate it. This is really good. And it's not like Wii Fit. It's not boring. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it's working like Wii Fit, standing on the balance board and all that kind of nonsense. This is working and this is getting you moving and it's getting you like really enjoying it. And it's very good at rewarding you like an RPG is good at rewarding you. It's a good game. I'm highly impressed by it. honestly, if you're thinking about getting it, it's expensive, but if you're willing to like dedicate, doing it at least a couple of times a week, you'll get your money's worth in the end, I think. There's so much content in there. They have a rhythm game as well that you can play to old Nintendo tunes, which is pretty cool.
And also, if you like become a healthier person and have a few extra years to live, that's probably worth the money too.
Yeah, so I was looking at because obviously they have the custom. You can create custom workouts. So I was trying to find I went on the Ring Fit Reddit and I was looking at how many calories can I burn if I do this workout and stuff like that. And I was trying to find custom workout plans that other people had made. And, people's stories of dudes losing 50 pounds thanks to Ring Fit, guys who got to level 100 and they've dropped, 20 to 30 pounds and they feel so much healthier and that kind of thing. It really, compared to Wii Fit or any other peripheral that Nintendo have tried before, this is really impressive. And the game itself is fun. I will admit, the whole taking on the dragon, fighting enemies, using exercise to actually deal damage to enemies. It's novel, but it lasts a while and it makes you feel good. And then there's some sort of strategy to it because enemies get harder and you have to drink these, smoothies that are basically RPG power-ups, and you have to really plan out because otherwise you have to do the exercise again. And the last thing you want to do when you failed to kill an enemy is to do an exercise again. I hate doing squats. I can't do squats very well because I've got really bad knees. And when the game is you didn't hold that squat, you got to do it again. I'm like, fuck you, Ring Fit, please leave me alone. I'm trying my best. Game kicks your ass.
Are physically active fitness games the one place where if you die in the game, you die in real life?
Maybe that's what's next. You have to insert the Joy-Con into your heart, and then as soon as you die to the dragon in Ring Fit, you die in real life.
I'm just wondering, A, what's going to happen if someone dies while playing Ring Fit Adventure? And B, what year is it going to be when Nintendo finally releases a peripheral that you have to insert inside of yourself to some capacity in order to measure your heart rate? Or the chemical composition of your saliva or something as part of the gameplay?
For your full playtime, please insert the suppository now.
We're going to measure the chemical composition of your ass to help beat the bad guys.
Oh, it looks like you may have pancreatic cancer. Please visit a doctor at your next convenience. Take a break every 15 minutes.
How much is Ring Fit?
So it cost me $120, but it's meant to be about $80.
Cracking myself up over here. Let's see how much it is on American Amazon right now.
So yeah, it was sold out in Japan for months and months and months. It was impossible to get a hold of unless you paid, arm over leg for it. I'm glad I did.
$80. Take that,
it's
Liam.
In stock October 10th.
Oh, so we gotta wait a couple months, but we do get it cheaper than you, so that's cool, I guess.
I'm glad I paid the extra $40 to have it 3 months earlier, because by October, I'll be as buff as a dragon, and you'll be wobbly jelly.
I'm already there, dude.
31 and wobbly as jelly.
I gave up on the gym. I had to buy a whole variable dumbbell set.
So that's the thing is I have one, right? I have a dumbbell set and I've worked that into the routine of same as when I was in the gym, where you do weights and then go do cardio. But Ring Fit, honestly, after doing overhead presses in Ring Fit and honestly really using it, I can barely lift them. I'm like, oh fuck, dude, I need to have a bath. Fuck this. I need to recuperate. It can beat you up. It's amazing.
I've gone back and forth in terms of how in shape and satisfied with my body I am over the years, but one thing I definitely believe in after all the highs and lows is that I don't think the gym is really necessary.
There's definitely ways you can work out at home, but I feel there's a mindset you get into when you're in the gym that means you optimally get the most out of it. But it takes ages to build up that mindset. I don't know about you, Matt, but it took me ages to build up the mindset of I enjoy the gym, which if you don't go for a couple of weeks means you have to build that mindset up again. and it's
never.
fucking hard. You're like, I don't want to go.
'Cause-
Whereas when I can do Ring Fit at home, I'm like, hey, this is great.
Doing it at the gym is easier than I felt like I just now had to build up doing it at home. Like I have to build it up doing it at home, because at home I'm sitting here.
Yep.
There's so much going on. I'm looking at a list of things I need to get done because I have not fucking done it. I'm like, it's funny, like you get everything done one day and then all of a sudden that shit just piles on and it's so frustrating. And they're like, oh yeah, you have to work out too now.
Yep. So cut out the middleman, buy Ring Fit, and then turn your PC off and then go to sleep.
If the workout is fun and part of your routine, you don't really. And that's my strategy whenever I do start losing weight. It tends to work out for me. Like I'll start counting the calories and I will notice the math checking out, and I've never seemingly had an issue losing or gaining off of some sort of predictable schedule. But I think I managed to fix a lot of those problems with the motivation by kind of needing to walk everywhere or ride a bike everywhere, or putting myself in a position where I can't just drive where I want to go means I gotta get some sort of exercise to get there.
It inspires you to do more. Like, for example, recently it's been making me want to walk more because after my aircon broke, the one thing I wanted to do was get out of my apartment a lot. And I went walking just because I can listen to like podcasts and stuff that I would do anyway. And obviously, I very luckily live in Kyoto, which is, incredibly beautiful.
Oh man.
And I found like a local temple near me that I didn't even know about before. And I've started walking up that, and it's on like the top of a hill. And that hill looks over all of Kyoto. And now in the morning, to go get coffee, I will walk through that shrine up to the top, get a nice view of Kyoto and, get some coffee. Before I just sleep in until like 10 minutes before I have to work, and then Bob's your uncle.
Maybe there's two kinds of people in the world. People who regularly take a walk and people who don't. Because I definitely feel like I've turned into something else this year.
The thing with walking is to get the actual benefits. I mean, this is for people of our age, right? I'm not talking about elderly, but to get the benefits
That's
of walking,
so good for
you have to walk a long time and you have to walk far, right? So
but any is better than nothing. Like you were built, your body is supposed to be walking.
Yeah, but to make it like beneficial for like long term, and you got to be walking 5,000 to 10,000 steps, right? To be having some sort of calorie deficit that will, balance off maybe overeating and stuff like that.
And there's also the back and just the like endorphins that go into your mental health.
If you're overeating, then you ain't gonna lose no weight walking. I'd say that. That's a done deal.
But my point is that walking like that takes a long time, right? So it's off-putting, especially like as Matt says, if you got a shit ton of stuff to do, I want to be like exercising for 30 to 40 minutes, lifting a bunch of weights, get super sweaty, kill myself, and then still have time in the day to be able to do other stuff. And that's my only thing about exercise that I've always had a problem is just how do you fit that shit in? Like that is
I get more energetic afterwards. Like I'm more productive after the exercise, so I want to. That's why, if you put it earlier in the day, you like get a boost for the rest of your day. In my body,
you absolutely do. And like the one thing that Ring Fit does that I don't do enough of, which I really appreciate it for, is it makes you stretch like before and after during cool downs and stuff like that.
Oh,
and
that would be so good for me right now.
And the stretching is really good. Like it's a good 5-minute stretch, and I feel super flexible compared to the quarantine jelly I've been for the past 3 months.
Have you guys ever gotten so bad that you get a muscle cramp when you're in the bed stretching when you're waking up? Because like, as someone who used to regularly bicycle my entire adult life, at least 3 times a week until this fucking year, where I haven't done anything for like 6 months now, like I actually noticed a few weeks ago, I will cramp in my legs from, I guess, the shock of them turning into jelly after them usually feeling like muscly, sexy biker legs. They do not like what transformation is happening to them right now. And I don't know, have you guys gotten that bad where you like actually cramp just from stretching in the morning?
I definitely ruin my back sometimes doing stretches, but yeah. Yeah, like I can't, honestly, I don't know. It's only been a week. I've done it every day. So that's 7 sessions so far, but I feel like I'm going to carry on doing it because of the ease of use and also the fact that it keeps me engaged. And it looks great. It certainly does.
So I did the math yesterday, and as it turns out, I weighed myself, and I weigh about the same as I did before the coronavirus, even though I've had a lot less physical activity.
That's because you, George, are the only human being who can sweat out of stress and lose weight.
I believe it's because of all this home cooking that you guys shit talk me for.
Don't try to talk logic to me. You know that just makes you feel
Popcorn
more
tacos,
sick.
man.
Yeah.
Popcorn tacos.
What?
dude.
That's all veggie, baby.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I the downside to going out more often is that I would come home with a snack or go out and stop in a restaurant and then ride my bike or take a walk back home. And now instead I stay home all day but eat a healthier meal that day.
Healthier
And according to the scale, it balances out.
I don't believe you.
I know my body is not, in terms of every little detail except weight, I know I'm doing worse than I was last year. But according to the scale, the weight, at least, is about where it was last year.
Well, we spent 30 minutes talking about exercising.
Exercise.
That's interesting. That's an interesting change.
30 minutes for 30-year-old bodies, yes.
Well, I never talked about this last week, but I finished up Rise of the Tomb Raider, and
What the hell? Yeah, that came out of nowhere. What the hell are you doing playing that?
I don't think you mentioned that last week.
yeah, I did. I've been slowly like getting through it, and it's just been okay. It's like an arcadey. People like to say, "Oh, it's like The Last of Us" or anything like that. No, it's the writing is not so good. The delivery sometimes is not so good. It's very arcadey.
Instead of a naughty dog, it's more like just a kind of finicky dog, a nervous dog.
Yeah.
Not all the way naughty, just a little
It's nervous. Yeah.
troublemaking dog.
It's not bad. I mean, I finished it. It's just wow. It's so crazy when you put some years between you and the game, and all of a sudden the game kind of looks a little like just okay. But maybe that's why I didn't finish it before, because I actually got pretty far before, and I just didn't care to finish it.
I got halfway through the first Tomb Raider 2013 reboot before kind of falling out. Did they get better as the series goes on? Because I have heard, I think they did score a little bit better with each installment.
The third one I heard is just all exploration, and like you don't really fight.
There
in
are
the
3
third
of
one.
those games? Holy shit.
Yeah, I know. I was like,
And that flew by. I've not played any of them. I didn't even realize.
And not over that short of a span either. It was like a 6-7 year trilogy, but it just feels like those games came and went.
to be honest,
Weirdly
you're not
enough.
missing much. Not to say like it's a fine game, but like I don't know. I felt like I was doing it out of obligation. Like there's some points of the game where you're just like, why? Okay, so this guy comes back just to get kidnapped. I'm like, is this like a B movie? Like what is this bullshit?
I mean, they're inspired by that kind of thing, right?
Maybe.
Besides Indiana Jones.
Yeah, the first one had a lot of callbacks to schlocky horror movies like The Descent and Cannibal Holocaust.
Well, a better game that I've been
Ooh.
playing is Prey.
We're burning through them.
Prey.
Which is another Unfortunate Spaceman. I was wondering, did you start playing Prey before or after Unfortunate Spaceman?
After, I believe.
Did Unfortunate Spaceman get you in the mood for Prey?
No.
You don't think so?
I've always been wanting to play Prey. And just
Play Prey?
Yeah, play Prey. I just never got into it. So it was on sale, copped it, And it's in the beginning, I mean, it's always pretty like tries to get you into it, but in the beginning it's a little slow. And then as you get more and more things and you kind of understand where it's going and the power-ups and stuff, you're like, oh, okay. It's like BioShock in space type thing going on. It's pretty cool.
System Shock, perhaps. One might even wager a suggestion.
Yeah, I've I have System
You should
Shock
give those a go.
on my on my computer, and I still haven't played that game. It's just, I think it's too old, I think, for me.
No, it's not. If you install some mods for System Shock 2,
Mods?
it's fine. And if you have a custom controller set up for System Shock 1, you might be genuinely surprised by how well that game has aged. But yeah, Prey is something I've always wanted to get into too. Knowing full well that those games can be a lot to learn, though, I think is what always...
Why? There's not a lot to learn. This is a regular game. It's not complex.
With System Shock and Deus Ex and stuff, you got to learn RPG systems, and there's a chance you can roll a bad character. Does Prey do that stuff?
No, it's not like that. It's not like that, no. It's power-ups and stuff. Like, yeah, you can roll a bad character, but, like, I mean, that's every game. In this game, at least, a lot of the stuff you upgrade on the tree is actually useful. A lot of games tend to fucking fuck that up. But this one, it actually works. Like Last of Us, for instance, I didn't even know what the hell I was doing in Last of Us. I was like, okay, I might as well just put it in this one, I guess.
This looks like it doesn't have an effect.
You end up saving all your points because none of the power-ups even look appetizing. And you don't even know what you're going to do for the rest of the game. In this game, like, it's like, oh, okay, you could dismantle weapons and give you spare parts which you can use to do this. It's like, okay, this makes sense. Yes, my inventory's filling up. I should probably get this upgrade to expand the implants and storage at the same time. Like, it just makes fucking sense. So, like, I applaud them. Like, there's a lot of cool things about Prey. There's a lot of cool things.
I've heard a lot of good about the environments, atmosphere in particular, flushable toilets, reflections, that sort of thing.
The music is good.
And the music, too. It's got... Okay, I'm wondering, though. I've heard rad, sick, hyperactive, danceable, neo-80s synthwave, but it's supposed to be a quiet, loomy, dark horror game. How do they incorporate lively, fun techno music into a dark, scary atmosphere?
I don't think it's too poppy. It's like, even when you load up the title, like on the title screen, it's like very like a very, I don't know, scary, I guess, soundtrack that's playing in the back. There's certain areas where it does get quiet, and when something's about to pop on screen or something's happening, you can hear like the horror just kind of like creep in, like really harsh noises. It's really interesting how they just have it there in the background. Yeah. And there was a time where it actually scared me. It actually scared me. Like, it gets you.
If you like this stuff, I really think you should check out System Shock 2 if you end up wanting to do another one of these.
I mean, it is kind of the spiritual. Surprisingly, it's not made by what's his name? Javi, the guy who worked on System Shock 2, but also... Oh, was it System Shock 2 or Deus Ex he worked on? He worked on one of those immersive sims, but he runs Arcane, but he worked on Dishonored 2, didn't work on Prey.
Harvey Smith.
Is
that the one? Harvey Smith.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another game I haven't played that I wanted to play. It's like, I don't know, like, I played the first Dishonored and I really enjoyed it. But for some reason, the 2, I just can't bring myself to, like, buy it and play it.
Just can't do it.
I don't know. Like, I feel like number 1 was just fine. I do want to know what the outsider, who the outsider is, and all that type of shit. But it's just like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do the same thing over again. I don't know if I want to. That's the thing I didn't like about this one. It's like the whole stealth. I had to be stealth. I couldn't just run around killing people. Like sometimes I just
I mean, you could.
stealth is just not fun sometimes in certain games.
You totally could.
My problem with Dishonored was that yeah, I forced myself into a playstyle that I don't think the game was as built for. In Dishonored trailers, you stop time and like pick the bullet out of the air and put it in front of enemies and then press the play button again. And when I was playing the game, I was just quick saving behind every person. I was blinking and it was methodical and repetitive, and I felt like it would have been more fun if
So
I went
annoying.
louder.
Yeah, it is fun when you're louder, and the power ups are better when you're louder. But
You gotta force yourself
you're
to be louder, though.
Yeah, but the thing is that if you kill people, a negative thing happens to the whole world.
Yeah,
So what's the fucking point?
you have to convince yourself to try and...
You get a different ending and shit. Like, it's so stupid. Like, I hated that about the first one. I think that it's still there. It still lingers.
Yeah, I have the same exact feeling, except when I think back, I'm wondering, like, did I actually cheat myself out of a better experience by
Yes.
not going for the full ghost, no one ever spotted you, never killed anyone sort of playstyle? Because that's what I usually find fun. But in Dishonored, I don't think they wanted you playing it like that.
Don't make power ups. Don't make power ups like that. So weird, man. Like Deus Ex, I'm fine with sneaking. Metal Gear, I'm fine with sneaking. But games like Dishonored, man, you have a fucking knife and shit in your hand. Like, it's come on, guys. And there's so many cool things you can do. I wonder how many people actually killed people and how many people were stealthy. How many people are actually like are guilt free with just murdering people and then having their world turn into chaos. I wonder.
I would just look up
I
a
don't mind.
good ending on YouTube.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I could go back in time and make me play that game the bad way so that I could just look up the good endings on YouTube,
Yeah.
because I wouldn't have this like 30-hour long block of regret.
So the
in my
game gets
lifetime
harder
experience.
also, from what I remember, if you kill people.
Which is probably good because I remember it being too easy.
There you go. You should look up this guy that does some crazy stuff in Dishonored, man. I've never seen such smooth gameplay. I can't remember what it was, but this guy like kills everyone on the map smoothly. Like he knows he's played it like a million times. I really gotta find it for you, and so you can put it in the. It's insane.
Was
like
it
me saying it doesn't give it justice. It really
was it
doesn't.
a summer game done quick?
I've never seen a game played that way. Like actually played how the developer might think people would play it, I guess.
Like how the trailer of a game.
How
looks.
the trailer plays it.
So you mean like
Yeah.
a playtester level?
Completely smooth. Clean. It's like someone inputting like some like one frame combo in fucking Street Fighter with PS4 lag. I don't know. Crazy shit like that.
Music. Like music.
This week was the summer games done quick event.
Heck yeah, it
Did
was.
you guys watch any?
I did.
I watch
watched
less and less every year, I think.
Yeah, Liam was super jazzed.
every time it comes around, I'm a sucker for it. I basically don't play games, and I basically watch it all week. I have it on. I had it on in the background for the whole week when I was working.
There was a
It's awesome.
a Half-Life Alyx speed run.
That was so
I
cool.
flipped through that. 34 minutes.
More.
31 minutes.
More, please. More VR speedruns, because you are literally breaking the boundaries of physical space. It is fucking cool. Like the way he gets out of the van to like start in a crouched position and then force Alex to like stand up really quickly when in the van, so her head pokes out of the van so he can climb out of the van and then jump down is amazing. Like literal destroying the physical boundaries in real life to do it in a video game. So cool.
Sometimes using the hands as physics objects to like clip the body up a ledge you're not supposed to be on.
It was awesome.
Really,
that was one of
really
the better
crazy.
runs for sure. There was a couple of really good ones, but that one was top notch. Awesome Games Done Quick and Summer Games Done Quick are always, I'm such a sucker for them. And the sense of community around those events, I know speedrunning has had problematic pasts, but it's always, they raised what? 2.1 million again or something stupid. Like, that's so much money from video games. It's awesome.
2.3 million.
Wow.
Oh my god.
And it was all online this year.
Yes. And man, the logistics of how they sorted that out, I would like to see a postmortem on that because it was pretty seamless moving from stream to stream. There was, longer delays between waits, which is understandable, but it was pretty top notch. There was one guy streaming like Shovel Knight, and he had his kids in the background who were adorable. It was so funny. There was a lot of really good stuff.
I wonder what the home environment does to the finesse and quality of their gameplay.
Maybe
Like, if
more
they can
comfortable, I
concentrate
think.
better.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Because you can never quantify the numbers, right? Like, I think you'd be more nervous if there was 100 people behind you watching you than being at home with nobody, knowing there's like 70,000 people watching you, because you can't quantify those invisible people who are watching. So I imagine actually probably a lot of them felt super comfortable.
And it's your own hardware.
A lot of them were in their homes. They had webcams. Their like partners and stuff were behind them cheering them on. It's kind of wholesome. It was really good. I really enjoyed it this year. There's like a short hike speed run, Bloodborne speed run.
Oh my god, what does a short hike speed run look like? I gotta look that up.
I don't know, fly up the mountain as quick as possible, get like 2 golden feathers and somehow make it. It was like 30 minutes, I think. Yeah. Maybe less.
3 minutes. There's a short hike, any % speed run on YouTube for 3 minutes when you search for this stuff.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. All you have to do is get to the top of the island. You'll probably glitch your way there somehow. Yeah, no, it was really good. I'm such a sucker for these events anyway. So kudos to that team. I did play one more game. I won't talk about it too long because I know 0 people are interested. And I want to claim that I did it for research, which I totally...
I'm looking at it on the outline and trying to blink patronizingly. All right, Liam,
I definitely did this for research, George.
Let's hear all about this really exciting video game.
You mean PGA Golf 2K21?
Oh man, I can't wait to buy fancy pants and fancy shoes and stand on a spot on the ground and look rich.
It's so good.
It was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Matt's just tuned out of the Alex. He's come back.
I was watching the super hot VR speedrun. It's ridiculous, man. It's fucking ridiculous. No, I was watching you play, man. It was fun.
Oh yeah. Matt was there. Of course. I don't know. I'm acting like Matt didn't know. I played in the Discord for about 10 of us, and Matt was the first one to join, and Matt was aligning my putts for me, like some sort of spiritual god. And he was pretty damn good at it, to be fair. And it was great because we started off, and when it go in, everyone was like, "Hey, hole in one!" It was awesome. It's a pretty good community game, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's good. Like, it's a new sports franchise. The golf club that went around on Steam? It was kind of like a popular golfing sim that sold really well. Well, I think 2K bought that studio and was like, "Hey, make the same game you've been making for 3 years, but make it like a sports franchise like FIFA or Madden. And that's what we're going to do from now on." And it had a really good trailer that was actually quite dope. And then it came out. And I, obviously, as the golf connoisseur, it was my God-given right to check it out. But as somebody who actually played golf when they were a kid, quite seriously, I always have some sort of deep fascination with golf. Definitely got bored of that sport over the years, but this game is tight. It's a good game. Like, if you like golf and sports games, I guess the caveat being that it is really well polished. It works really nicely, plays really nicely, has interesting features in terms of the shots. It is not easy. You get dicked because you have to time things really well. It's not just a case of pressing a button and stopping it. You have to move the thumbstick in a straight line, and if you don't, you'll slice the ball, and you have to time it really nicely and judge the wind and all of this garbage. It's actually pretty hardcore sim if you let it be. And I've been playing with a couple of people who also purchased it. And we have you can have an online society in the game, and you can set up a tournament event, and you don't have to play it because you can play the multiplayer asynchronously or at different times. And while you're playing, you can see the balls of other players. It's taken a bit from Golf with Friends, I think. And there's asynchronous multiplayer and also real-time multiplayer. It's quite good. And best part is your OC Sonic Golf character basically looks like a character from Saints Row that you can dress and make look like Guy Fieri. It's fucking crazy. The pants I wear in that game are on fire. It's black and white and green clovers all over the place. It's the most garish piece of clothing I think any human being could ever wear, and I wear a giant cowboy hat. It is awesome. It's basically a Saints Row character golfing. That's it. Golf report over. Thank you for tuning into Sports Center.
You gotten close to hole-in-one, and I'm watching some of these hole-in-ones. It's pretty ridiculous.
The best shot I hit was yesterday when I was playing a multiplayer match with a friend in Sweden, and I hit basically a hole-in-one, but it was a par 4. So the second shot blasted it 300 yards, judged the wind perfectly, dang, right in the hole. My Swedish friend was screaming because he was so angry that I just basically completely overtook the game. And
I just got to appreciate that there are people in the world in real life that have hit a tiny white ball with a stick and gotten it into a hole yards away, hundreds of yards away.
Would it blow your mind to know I have actually done it in real life?
Oh, really? From how far?
From a par 3, so the shortest type of hole you can have, but it was about 210 yards.
That's far, man.
Did it feel accidental or
no? So when I was a kid, I had 3 things that my life consisted of: video games, soccer for you guys, and
golf.
And golf was because my grandma played golf, and she would just take me to the golf course, and I'd hit things, and then I ended up going into junior competitions, and I was actually pretty good at it. But I hated the pressure. Golf is so full of pressure, right? And the mental kind of fortitude you need to be good at golf is something a kid doesn't have. And I just wanted to fucking play Zelda and go home. So I didn't particularly enjoy playing it, even though I was good at it. And I won a lot of competitions. I was actually in an academy. Wow, this is deep therapeutic Liam time. I'm reliving lost memories. I was actually in an academy, and I would get pulled out of school to go play in tournaments and stuff. And I won the academy. It was a year-long thing where you get points based on how you perform in tournaments and stuff like that. And I won that academy, and I got opportunities to go to Spain and stuff to play in tournaments. I was good, but I hated it. I really didn't like it. I didn't want to do it. It was a lot of pressure, and golf is a really frustrating sport if you're having a bad day. And I would just get super angry, and I'd just be I want to go home and play games and hang out with my friends. So I quit. And I actually remember being super scared to tell my dad, because he'd spent so much money, right? This thing that his kid wanted to do, that he thought his kid wanted to do anyway. And I was super scared to tell my dad, and I told him one day, and my dad was like, all right, on to the next thing, I guess. And I was like, oh, wow, after all of that, I could have said this 2 years ago. I could have played a lot of Mario between now and then. But yeah, so when I was a kid growing up, I played a lot of golf. So I have a great understanding. And I've always enjoyed watching it over the years. It is
Really?
the ultimate sit down.
Kind of boring, man.
Fucking vegetate. It is boring, but a cozy blanket when you just sit down and you literally, when you put long Twitch streams on because you don't want to think about changing, going through 10 YouTube videos and thinking about what you want to watch. You stick something on and you don't have to think about it. That's how I feel about golf majors. And I can stick it on and it's on all day. Kind of like Games Done Quick. It's on all day. I don't have to think about it. And it's just a nice background noise that I understand. But yeah, I did get a hole-in-one once. I got a course record at one golf course I played, and I got a hole-in-one on that same golf course in England when I was about 11 or 12. I was super young when I played golf. But, man, weird times. I've completely forgot about all of this, to be honest. I've thought about golf, me playing golf in fucking years.
For me, I just played golf in high school, man, and I wasn't that good. I like mini golf though. Mini golf, I'm good.
I like making golf games. Like I'd rather do that now.
And you're good at
it. Did you forget that you played golf as a kid until just now after
making
doing all this
golf game
research to
honestly? Yeah, yes.
Is this some latent childhood memories that have been coming out? Like, is this might not be a coincidence that you were making a golf game.
I just think
now.
I have I don't think about it, right? Like when I made Curse to Golf, I wasn't thinking about the golf part because I already understood golf. So it's there, right? But actually thinking about me, the person playing it, like Liam standing on a golf course, I haven't thought about like that and like playing golf for years and years and years and years. But the idea of somebody playing golf is completely different to like my experience of playing golf. So this PGA 2K21 is the first time since like playing Tiger Woods on the PS2 when I was actually playing golf at the time that I've played a golf game that, Kiss Golf doesn't count and making that doesn't count. But actually playing this has brought up a lot of memories about, playing golf when I was a kid. It's quite therapeutic, getting all that stress and anger out because I can pretend to be a PGA golfer who's actually good at consistency.
This is you getting your revenge at golf for golf getting your hopes up and then dashing them.
Yeah, a lot of people told me I was going to be a pro, and I was like, I don't want to be. This is a lot of pressure. It's the thing, right? This is how mundane my existence is. That my childhood repressions are golf.
Fucking golf.
Fucking golf.
I really was into hockey as a kid.
What?
Roller hockey.
You played roller hockey.
And I loved it.
Beat up roller hockey.
Yeah, and I was surprisingly good at it.
Whoa.
And I really, really miss it and bet I would have a lot of fun if I tried it again as an adult. Like, that shit is a blast.
Do you reckon you could even get the skates?
Oh, yeah, I have a pair of skates in my closet that I haven't worn in over 10 years. So maybe
there you go.
Come to think of it,
I'll stop playing golf again. You get those skates on. Matt, you can. Matt, you and me can play golf. Because I'll be just as bad as you were in college.
We should play some mini golf, man. Let's
I'm
bring
down
it down
for.
to a
I'd
nice,
rather
like,
I'd rather that. I'd rather.
Yeah, it would be more fun. I want to go to a wacky mini golf. If I were to, this like couple businesses I would love to like make my own. And it's like crazy mini golf. I could get with someone who builds courses, and I'll just do like the weird shit. Like, of course, I'll have the classic windmill, but I'll have some like maybe some video game references and some shit like that.
Is that what you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
Your comfy old person job is running a mini golf course.
A mini golf course, dude, with like, and then like a game bar inside. Oh man, that would be the place.
Funny you say that, because the reason in Curse to Golf that the holes are really big, like it's not, a typical tiny golf hole size. It's really big is because I heard on a podcast once, I think it was Zach Gage explaining that mini golf to him is like the greatest game design thing in the world, right? You're creating level design and also you have an objective. I guess because
I believe it. I bet it's fun as hell as a game developer.
The biggest issue he has and how he thinks more people would play mini golf is if the holes were just a bit bigger. And he wanted to bet people that he could turn around a broken down mini golf place if he just made the holes bigger. And that always made me laugh. Zach Gage is an amazing game designer. So I was thinking, maybe he's right. So the reason the holes in Curse to Golf are really big is because of that one statement he made on that podcast.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. Like, think about how many times people putt near the hole. They putt near the hole so many times.
The best part of the experience is when you finally make it in the hole.
Yeah, but if it was really big, it would happen a lot more frequently,
And
right?
and all-in-ones will happen a lot more frequently. So the level cap.
If you think about watching your friends play and the frustrations of them like missing, that's pretty hilarious, right? And you know, most of the videos you can see of mini golf, like on the internet, are people just getting so frustrated because the ball just will not go in the hole.
Mhm.
You gotta think of not your friends, but rather the lowest common denominator of the mass audience who are gonna be buying oodles of tickets to your mini golf course because they think that they're the greatest golfers in the world because they're able to easily get holes in one inside of your giant inflated hole.
I mean, it doesn't have to be that big, but that could be a catchphrase: bigger holes.
Oh, I think it should be lubricated too.
I think if it was twice the size, it would be pretty good. If it was twice the size, honestly, because that's, you know, a hole is only a golf ball's width and a half, I think. So, you know, that is tiny.
We could stretch a little bigger than the size of a golf ball, I think.
If it was 2 golf balls and a half, or, you know, 3 golf balls, that'd be pretty good.
That'd be a pretty big hole.
That'd be a pretty big hole. We get it, George. You
if
like
you
saying
could stick
hole
three golf balls.
We got bigger holes. Come down to Dad and Son's holes.
Put your balls in my big hole.
Dad and Son's
Guys,
mini golf.
Whatever mini golf course we all like get together to open up when we become old men is going to be the most perverted, like nerdy bullshit.
Oh yeah, Dad and Son's mini golf.
Yeah.
Come
Can you imagine
down.
doing this when we're 60 and we're like, yeah, when it was out on the course the other day,
Bigger holes.
dropping those balls in those big holes.
Bigger sticks.
That $1 million idea we had.
I rubbed some extra Vaseline around the holes today to make sure everyone will slide in a little extra easier. Okay. We talked a bit about what kind of sports we were into when we were kids. And I had a blast from the past doing a bit of nostalgia tripping this week, watching a documentary on Amazon Prime about the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater video game.
Oh, is that the Superman one?
Yeah, it's
Oh, I really want to watch that. I actually really want to watch that. How do you get hold of that?
it's on the US Amazon Prime is how I saw it.
Oh, shit.
Pretending I'm a Superman is what it's called.
Ah, damn.
And you would enjoy it. I would be willing to wager.
I would.
Then anyone listening to this podcast would probably enjoy it, but you're not going to want to show grandma or anyone who doesn't know what this stuff is.
The thing I did after quitting golf was skateboard, so I think I definitely would.
When I was a kid playing roller hockey, I was also going through my mandatory early 2000s white suburban kid skateboard phase. And the stuff that led up to that moment being a thing in my life was the result of a 20 to 30 year long struggle to get an underground sport / performance art medium to wax and wane in and out of public popularity that reminded me of what it was like growing up getting into video games. Before they go into the video game itself, this documentary gets into the history of skateboarding, which originated in the 1940s, but became really big and popular and extreme and edgy in the late 70s, and then had a crash in the early 80s, where public interest really dropped off until some new companies made it a little more extreme and edgier in the 90s.
Bones Brigade.
And then when the X Games came out around the turn of the millennium, it broke through to the mainstream. And that progression really does remind me a lot of video games starting up as Cold War technology, moving onto a small niche community that got hit by a market bubble and crash in the 80s, that then got remarketed as mainstream toys for kids that broke them through as those kids grew up in the turn of the millennium. And they apparently have some gatekeeping issues involved in the skateboarding community, where some really hardcore old skateboarding fans don't like how mainstream it's become. Apparently there's some like beef going on between Tony Hawk and some other skateboarders around like some controversies over his image being wholesome. And the documentary doesn't get into that stuff. And I almost wish it did, because you get a hint that there's probably some really fun drama going on behind the scenes that they didn't mention. Some of the skaters who they're interviewing were like a little reluctant to sign up for the game at first because they were worried it was selling out and it would ruin their kind of punk rock do-it-yourself image that skateboarding had. They also like to mention that around the turn of the millennium, as technology was picking up and whatnot, solitary sports like this are kind of sort of becoming popular more so than team sports. Tony Hawk's talking about how kids will just gravitate to skateboarding, not because it's an impressive performance when done well, of course, but also because it's a more personal, solitary way to explore your self-expression through defying physics and putting on a show. Yeah, it was interesting because you can tell that there's a lot of interesting cultural implications behind skateboarding become popular that I never would have guessed when I was going through this phase in the 2000s, and how big of a deal it was for the kids, and also how much Tony Hawk plays games and knew what was going on and wanted to make sure the controls were accessible and easy to get into. Like, he didn't want it to be a skateboarding simulator. He wanted it to be arcadey and fun, and I was surprised to find out how much say he had in that as well. Like, he was a part of the development process to a surprising extent.
I mean, I imagine they didn't have many skateboarding experts at the time. What is this? The Liam childhood repression episode? Because that was like my other thing, that from like 13 to like 17, 18 was nothing but skateboarding. Like the CKY videos back in the day, Bamager, and then Tony Hawk's, and then, you know, all of that culture just around all of that was like my everything alongside video games. And I skateboarded for years. We'd go to parks every weekend and just skate.
Did you ever do a kickflip?
Wow, this is weird. Yes, I could do
Really?
like 360 flips and stuff like that. But I like skating a lot.
That shit takes forever to learn. I did it for like a year and managed to do one kickflip, and that's when I decided to start calling it quits.
See, for me, everybody, my brother, my best friend, like everybody at the time was into it, right? So we were all, you know, typical community type thing. Everybody's pushing each other to get better and better. I like skating half pipes more. Like I like doing like pipe stuff when I was younger.
Oh yeah, the vert versus street fight is apparently a real thing.
Not vert. I wouldn't do vert. I was terrified of vert. I could drop in on vert, but it absolutely terrified me. But like mini pipes, like half pipes and stuff, like doing tail stalls and nose blunts and stuff. Yeah.
That
Hell
conflict
yeah, baby.
between vert skating and street skating, I really wish they got into that too, because like it's almost a class conflict. Like for vert skating that was more popular in the 80s, you would have to build ramps at some kind of public facility. And I think that's why there might have been some dislike associated with Tony Hawk's public imagery, was that he was always doing it in these really expensive facilities that a lot of people wouldn't have access to. And that was like one of the core arguments behind this beef that apparently exists between skateboarding subcultures of street skating versus vert skating is whether or not you lived in a rich enough California neighborhood to have a giant half pipe to skate through versus quasi borderline needing to break the laws to get your skateboarding thrills on out in the street instead.
Yeah, but that's the thing about skaters, right? Like even when you get skate parks built, they still just want to go skate in the streets, mostly. So it's not like there was a class war or a fight, you know, just some guys just were like, we're not going to fucking skate in the skate park. We're going to fucking still skate rails like outside of a police station because we're fucking hardcore. I mean, I don't think that was anything to do with class. It was like, hey, here's your park.
No, they mention it in the documentary. Like, it takes money, and it was only a California thing for a lot of those years until after the video games and the street skating tapes were taking off in the 90s, and that added an edgy aesthetic to it.
It was, you know, it tied in with like punk rock and that culture.
Which is a persecution complex that they get into that even reminded me a lot of video games too. They talk about how skaters are stereotyped as being bullied. In the back of my mind, I was thinking, what? No, those were the cool kids. Skateboarding is like stylish. It's fun to look at. Yeah, it's like a combination of acrobatics and physics and fashion is what I've always thought of it. But Tony Hawk would always think of it as like a wholesome sport more than the art sort of thing.
I mean, Tony's been there, you know, since the late 70s, early 80s, right? And he was A professional when he was like 17, 16 or something, when he
Yeah.
was with Bones Brigade. Like,
Yeah.
that dude knows how skating has gone up and down, but he was always the babyface image of it. Skating owes a lot to Tony Hawk, whether people admit it or not, whether skaters admit it or not. And,
The public face.
I'll always remember the one, like, I don't know if either of you guys watched Viva La Bam back on MTV2 back in the day, after like the CKY Jackass stuff had come out, and then Bam Margera had his own TV show. Did you watch it? No? Reality TV show?
A
about
little
Bam
bit,
Margera?
a tiny little bit.
So there was one episode where him and Tony Hawk go to Mardi Gras, I think it was, and like they're driving Lambos and shit. And then, it pauses like a freeze frame at the end of the episode, and it's like, as you are reading this, Tony Hawk has already earned over $500,000 by the time you will have finished reading this. And I always wondered whether it was true at the time, but oh my god, yes, it definitely was. Tony Hawk made a lot of fucking money.
There's a quote that really got me thinking in this documentary. He says that in the 70s and 80s, when he was skating and when he was seeing video gaming grow up, he knew in the back of his head that it was always possible to turn that sport of his into a fun video game. And that just made me wonder about how many sports there might be that are out there that are weird and kind of underground that not a lot of people know about, that might need a really fun, well-crafted, easy, accessible, mainstream-ready, arcadey video game to popularize the sport itself. What else is out there? Like, parkour games are totally a thing, but I don't think there's been, like, one that looked at it from a Tony Hawk point of view where you're doing tricks for points.
Yeah, Mirror's Edge is, like, the most mainstream of parkour games, but not really a parkour game.
Yeah, it doesn't consider it a sport so much as, like, a cool way to make action scenes.
There was, like, Dave Mirror's BMX.
Which were, like, Tony Hawk.
There was a lot of those games, right? There was a really good rollerblading one. There was obviously Shaun White's snowboarding.
Aggressive Inline was a fun one.
Yeah.
I'm getting excited and antsy thinking about these, like, cool...
You look like you need to pee again.
Okay.
He needs to pee again. He's even turning his camera off these days to go pee.
Shade jumps, war pipes, and more. There's lots to avoid in Mario Golf Coastal Tour. Tony for Nintendo, GameCube, rated E for everyone.
So, we just peed and got water and also, like, talked about what to do with the news this week. There's a lot going on, but for the sake of getting Liam to share some insight about mobile development, I thought we would focus on an update for this Epic lawsuit. In other words, this week we're going to be talking about an Epic update for the Epic lawsuit. A judge has ruled in favor of a temporary restraining order for Epic against Apple. Last week, Apple, you might have to fill me in on this. Did they say they were revoking Unreal Engine 5 across the App Store, or did they actually go through with it?
No, they didn't go through with it. They threatened it.
Yeah, what happened this week is that a judge ruled that no, you can't actually do that.
The judge did what everybody expected, which was, no, you cannot keep Fortnite on the store, but no, Apple, you also cannot block this tool from being used by all of these people who will lose their livelihoods. It was the most sensible and most obvious decision of what was going to happen.
Under the logic that those developers who would have been impacted have little to nothing to do with the lawsuit in the question and or the rules being challenged, and also that some sort of status quo apparently needs to be maintained while the laws of how App Store sales are going to change. There's the exact quote is, the judge was arguing that Epic strategically chose to breach its agreements with Apple and thus disturb the status quo. But, Rogers argued, maintaining that status quo is also why she's ruling that Apple can't cut off access to the Unreal Engine right now. The threat was that they would take all of Epic's resources off the store, including the engine of other unrelated games that...
Well, no, just anything that uses that tool set, right? So...
Which would have been nuts.
Would have been nuts. Absolutely. And it would have been bullshit, because what have those guys done? Like, they're paying Epic a lot of money of their revenue because of using the Unreal Engine. Like, I think if they had gone through and Epic had jeopardized that, Epic owe those developers a massive recoup in engine costs. Why on earth would anybody use Unreal ever again? It's mad. I think this is the way it'll stay now, and the court case will go forward, and then there'll be some outcome, but I don't know. I would not be surprised if we don't see Fortnite on that store for another couple of months, for sure. If ever again.
Might be, a year or more, maybe, if it does come back.
It's something will happen. Epic will figure something out, some sort of app or launcher on something, like through a browser, and you'll be able to play Fortnite through the browser, and Apple can't stop that. And then any payments through the browser can automatically go to Epic. I don't think that is out of the question. I think if they can run it, which they should be able to through HTML5, I don't know, maybe.
Or they could try to negotiate for a special deal, which is apparently another thing that's been revealed this week that they were trying to do in the past.
Yes, like Apple tend to have a flat fee, but just like Sony and Microsoft and everybody, you can sort of fudge it depending on how big and how important you are and how much they want your work. I imagine Apple are hurting just as much from people not playing Fortnite on their phones, but, they have over $1 trillion. So what does it really matter apart from principle at this point?
I can't imagine Apple hurting in general.
I mean, yeah, but you think about how many people play Fortnite around the world on one day on mobile, especially in Asia. There's millions and millions and millions of people. And those people are going to be...
They can take the hit.
I mean, of course they can take it, but there's a reason it's there, and the reason in the first place, because it makes a load of money for both parties. Now they're just arguing over how much one should get compared to the other.
So Microsoft has come out on Team Epic.
That doesn't surprise me.
They submitted a legal declaration that's going to be read by the judge as part of the case that stated in so many words that Kevin Gamble, the general manager of gaming developer experiences for Microsoft, is stating that Epic Games' Unreal Engine is a critical technology for numerous game developers, including Microsoft. Denying Epic access to Apple's SDK and other development tools will prevent Epic from supporting Unreal Engine on iOS and Mac OS, and will place Unreal Engine and those game creators that have built and are building and may build games on it at a substantial disadvantage.
Yes.
Yeah. No, Liam's just shaking his head. Yes.
I mean, yes, it would. And it would suck because Epic have made the decision for all of those developers, which has to be illegal, right? It has to have some sort of substantial... They must owe those developers some sort of money because you don't get it wrong. Like, each engine costs money to use. You have a license, but sometimes you don't have to pay for the license until you release your game. And then, especially in Unreal's case, they take a percentage of your revenue for as long as that game earns money. So Epic has been making money off these people having their engine be used, and then these people make money, right? If these people are not able to make money anymore because Epic made a decision, but Epic have been taking money this whole time, I feel like Epic needs to give that money back to them, right? So, I don't know. It's trouble on both sides. I mean, it was obvious, I think, that there would be an injunction where Apple cannot do that. But if you're Apple, you're going to be pissed, right? You're like, well, how do we attack these guys? Fortnite's down. They're not, but people are still playing Fortnite on other platforms. But how do we, I guess we have to go through legal proceedings now, and who knows where that'll go.
Yeah, I don't know if it's obvious when it's their walled garden that's the thing that's coming into question. Like, they still built a store, and stores are allowed to...
Yeah, but you're still subject. Like, it's like... I don't know what it's like, actually.
It's not comparable to many other things.
Yeah.
It's a very, very unique issue that is unprecedented in history that requires one to clarify that cell phones actually are more like computers.
It's not really comparable, but it makes a lot of sense that would be the decision, and that was the decision, right? All of these developers are using one of the only available tool sets there is. It's not their fault. They've entered a contract with Epic to do this, but it's not their fault that Epic have made this decision for them. Therefore, the collateral of that it should be logical to any judge to be like, yeah, no, probably not a good idea. Because Apple doesn't really have anything to gain other than to strong arm Epic into not doing the lawsuit. But I think it's Epic's right to do the lawsuit and to challenge that 30%.
You think they're going to end up doing a settlement? Or do you think there's going to be an actual winner or loser?
There'll be a winner. There'll be a winner or loser, I think. Or some sort of change.
Or like a half winner, half loser, like the John Carmack versus
yeah, I think both will lose
case.
out somehow. I think maybe it'll be a case of Apple are like, okay, but Fortnite is now not allowed on the store. That wouldn't surprise me. They're like, okay, we'll play your game, Epic, but you're not having Fortnite on the store. And that is within their right to do that. Because they can reject apps at any time. They can just keep rejecting the Fortnite app over and over again.
That sounds like the current situation.
I mean, they pulled it. They pulled it from the store.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if they resubmit it, which is the process you can go through, Apple can just keep rejecting it. My point would be that for the long term, the resolution might be.
Oh, even if they change their
stance, it's just like, hey, everybody else can now make a new percentage, but Epic, you're making 0 because Fortnite is never again being allowed on iOS.
So just out of spite.
Oh, yeah. Because then it doesn't look like you've lost, right? It kind of looks like you've won. But actually, long term, you have lost. And Epic will have changed the industry for mobile developers and also have lost. So I don't know. I really don't know where this is going to go, to be honest. It really does fuck you, though, if you're thinking right now, like, I am using Unreal. But what, like, even with Unity, like, there was news about Unity going public yesterday, and I'm like, oh my god, that could be bad for me in the future. Once you go public, there's a lot of pressure to
make your product worse.
Well, no, to make your product profitable enough for shareholders to be happy, right?
At all costs.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, raising license prices, changing the structure of, they might look at Unreal and be like, hey, those guys are making a market revenue share for using the engine. We don't do that. We just charge licenses. Well, we do make a certain amount after you release the game. You have to pay Unity, but it's nothing like Unreal. So they might be like, hey, we're just matching the standard. Nobody's using Unreal at the moment, so we might as well, jump on board that and charge people whatever we want.
You okay back there, Matt?
I think this is the listening podcast for me.
Hey, we got some nice Spaceman in.
Some unfortunate Spaceman.
And Tomb Raider. What was
yeah. I love that title. Unfortunate Spaceman sounds like a fun way to describe a lot of adventures I've gone on in my life.
That's the next time you're going to be standing in the supermarket and somebody without a mask is going to be next to you. You'll be like, that's unfortunate space, man.
Oh my god, like my roommate's cat is just whining and whining and whining.
I can't hear a cat. I'm kind of disappointed.
Yeah, well, I have the fucking maslowed vinyl stapled to my door.
And it's still meowing through that.
It's still meowing through it. It's so annoying.
The cat might have something to say about Epic versus Apple. We should have a guest on.
No, it just wants food. It always wants food.
Is it a fat cat?
Don't we all?
Always wants fucking food and to go outside.
Sounds like my kind of party. Can't go outside. You gotta stay inside, dude. There's a pandemic out there.
I mean, I like the cat, right? But God, it is so focused on food or being outside. Like that's the only thing it cares about. It cares about nothing else.
It's kind of very.
That's why sometimes I just don't.
It's not like it has a job,
It's kind of course. To a lot of
it's a cat.
When you have a dog, it doesn't do stuff like that. The dog
do you have a dog
you.
there?
The dog loves you. The dog cuddles with you. The dog. Cats are just like fucking evil, man.
Wow. We found out today Matt's not a cat person.
Like, you exist for me. Okay?
Dogs gotta chew things.
No, they don't. You gotta train them.
Dogs gotta poop somewhere, though. Cats have this instinct to poop in the sand. So
I have
dogs,
no idea why
dogs
that works.
Yeah, I
have
really
no
want to
idea.
know why litter boxes are just why cats gravitate to them. You plop a cat straight out of the womb and they just know
The snow.
to use the litter box. What is it in nature that looks and smells and feels like a cat's litter
I mean,
box? that
what's
makes
in
them
catnip?
think?
I mean, we could go deep with it. What the fuck is catnip, man?
The expose everybody's waited for.
A miserable pile of secrets.
What is a cat?
If you would like to discover our cats and our secrets, then send us an email to dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com and we may reply with either or. You can also join the $5 Dad and Sons Patreon Discord and ask a question like the following from Sir Rick the Nick. I wanted to ask about the platform that has brought all the players together, Discord. From my recollection, Discord seemingly popped out of nowhere and has since become this ubiquitous platform that everyone uses to communicate and interact with each other. It has become so ubiquitous that I can't really imagine online PC gaming without it, and it's become an invaluable tool for me to meet and interact with friends. Despite this, no one ever really talks about it by itself. When did you ever start using Discord? Is it as good a platform as it could ever be? Will there ever be any Discord competitors? What would you change about it? Thanks for giving me a bright spot every week. Cheers.
Cheers.
I think Discord is fantastic, and the only reason it's not a mainstream common denominator thing is gamer branding.
Discord is the thing.
Yeah, it's kind of mainstream. I think Zoom came in during Corona. I have no idea. People talk like people use Zoom. No one used fucking Zoom before Corona. No one did. Okay, that's why their stock went up. Okay,
Slack is the only thing I can think of which is the actual competitor. Slack is useful, but it's very business focused, whereas Discord is very gamer focused.
But they feel so similar.
Yes, but once you start using both, you'll actually realize the inadequacies. Like Discord's 8 megabyte limit is fucking terrible. Sometimes you can't even send high quality photos. That is not great, especially with business file sharing and stuff like that. Slack is great, but to get most of the features you have to pay, right? And obviously you can do Nitro on Discord, but it's different. You know, it's very focused on live streaming. When you go up to Nitro, you get the 60 frames, 1080p, whatever. And there's a lot of like just gamer focused stuff about Discord. I think Discord is better. I personally like Discord, and since switching to remote work, I've used Discord for about 4 years now. But it was never like a daily thing. And until this remote work started happening and channels started popping up, to replace social networks and all that kind of stuff. And obviously we now have our amazing Discord channel. Discord is like a thing I always have open. It's right there. Everybody's in it. It's super useful. And the actual client itself like runs like on no CPU power and never crashes, and it's never slow. It's surprisingly good. And the ability to just like fucking turn up and stream a game and a video and talk to people is amazing. We're doing this podcast right now with the three of us staring at each other in a private channel, and we don't have to pay for it. We don't have to do anything. A couple of years ago,
and every
unheard of.
Other day, every day someone's in there streaming something. Every other day, one of us is in there streaming something.
Looking at you, Web.
And that almost feels like a new way to interact with people in your internet community. Is by streaming something to a smaller audience of like 8 to 12 people rather than the big Twitch audience.
And I love that people can talk back. I love that. I love that. I know you can't hack it, George. I know you can't hack it. And we have to have conversations about your Titanfall attitude.
And you can tell when it comes out. If I hear like more than 3 other voices in my head, it starts mucking with my own voice in my head. Like it's like a speech jammer.
For me, it's a case of, I don't know, when you're playing a game and like, it's like, Twitch chat, but you don't have to read it. You can just hear it. And I'm like, that makes me focus on the game more because I don't have to look at the chat.
Yeah, but aren't you feeling that pressure to be a performer at the same time?
Not in Discord. No, not in Discord.
Oh God.
Twitch, yes, but not in Discord. No way in Discord.
Yeah, see, I have like the imposter syndrome come out, the social anxiety comes out, the speech jamming effect gets me. If there's like more than 4 voices and they're like fans, I start to just not be able to think for myself.
The fans that blow air? You're talking about air? If you have 4 fans blowing air?
No.
Are you that hot in Georgia? Is it really hot in Georgia right now?
Yes, but no.
Yeah, man, it's really hot over here in California. Like really hot.
So Kobe has a question for us. Kobe says, a low-budget film distributor, which included Roger Corman, was called American International Pictures, and they published a strategy for what they called the Peter Pan syndrome for successful movies from 1954 to 1980. The Peter Pan syndrome states that A, a younger child will watch anything an older child will watch, B, an older child will not watch anything a younger child will watch, and C, a girl will watch anything a boy will watch, D, a boy will not watch anything a girl will watch. Therefore, to catch your greatest audience, you zero in on the 19-year-old male. Has the video game market been influenced by this strategy, and is it still relevant today given the large and diverse crowd it has grown in recent years?
Yes, of course it has. Look at the games we have.
I feel like it's changed.
It has changed, but
Yeah.
think of the generations that we're built upon and don't question it.
The whole toy branding of video games did some lasting damage, perhaps.
Is gel in your hair? In your hair?
No,
Looking like
no,
an alfalfa. What's going
no,
on?
it's just because it's been
It's
tied
just super
and pulled
straight.
back. Yeah, very straight.
You gotta make it curly, lay flat.
I
Do
can't
some
curl
sexy
it,
pictures.
but I can look like Vegeta.
Liam is over here
Power up.
going
Yeah, there you go.
Super Saiyan, and it's reminding me of what it was like being a kid watching Dragon Ball Z,
He's a
which
badass Mohican.
seemingly
Good, the good old days.
was marketed to boys.
Yes. And a lot of the nerdy girls watched it too.
Yeah, and I feel like
In
anime
secret.
in the West didn't have quite such like a gendered presentation to
In
its
secret.
kids they were targeting.
Yeah.
I like Sailor Moon.
I feel like a lot more girls grew up to get into anime than into video games when I was growing up.
Yeah, and a lot more girls play now. I mean, it's almost
changed.
like it's a bit shocking, to be honest.
It's changed.
Like every time it's come so regular now that I don't even notice it.
But I absolutely remember video games being toys for boys
Yes.
when I was growing up.
Yes.
And that's the thing is, right? It's like you talk to somebody, a female, if you're well acquainted, and they'll talk
Female.
about, I played N64, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, wow, that's amazing, right? Because you think back to when you were a kid, you're like, I didn't know any girls who played N64. But of course there was, right? Like whether it was like brothers, consoles, or their own, but it just wasn't a thing because all of the marketing was aimed at boys.
Yeah.
And I know that I got into anime because a dude who was 2 years older than me was watching it, and I wanted to be as cool as that guy.
Yeah, and they're cool. Older boys are cool.
Well, we think they are when we are young.
And then you
boys.
grow up
And then you grow up and you realize, man, that guy was kind of a douchebag.
Yeah.
that guy who was really, really good at Contra and not much else when they were 19 is who I idolized when I was a child.
That guy had a couple of good things. He introduced me to anime. He was good at Contra and also gave me free weed. So actually, hats off to that guy.
Hats off, man.
Hats off. Taran, I love you, man.
Hats out for Torrent. Anyways, I feel like one of the things that really fucked me up was that it was a girl that got me into video games in the first place.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Wait,
Yeah, it was a
what?
cousin who gave me some hand-me-down Nintendos as she was growing up.
That's
and
really
how I got
cool.
into it when I was a tiny child. So that stereotype was already broken for me when I was a young, like 5-6-year-old first playing video games for the first time. The thought didn't occur to me that it was a toy for boys. It was more like something I grew into when I was like later on 11, 12-year-old and playing more hardcore M-rated PC gaming
Like
stuff.
metal.
Did seem more gendered towards boys. specifically than the Nintendo stuff, which seemed like all gender neutral compared. Yeah, because you could play cute, cuddly Kirby, whether you're a boy or a girl. That character is just the most attractive thing in the world. Anyways, but I don't mean that in a sexual way. Train of thought derailed with that one.
And I guess that's where we go.
Forrest C asks our third and final question. Hello, dads. I was playing some multiplayer games this morning, and I've been called a homosexual slur beginning with an F 3 times in 3 different games before 10 a.m. What do you think is the root cause of the rhetoric in gaming circles? In other hobbies of mine, people never pull out the slurs. In nearly every setting, yelling at your peers is going to be a discouraged behavior. Why is this such a problem for gamers specifically?
I think it's a problem with anonymity. Say that 3 times.
They can get away with it.
Yeah. It's proven that the power of anonymity, god damn it, makes you think differently. There was a great TV show by Darren Brown back in the day where all the audience were asked to wear masks, and they watched a live stream of a dude, and they could influence the stuff that happened to him, and they always chose bad things because it's morbid and funny, and you don't get blamed for your decisions if nobody knows who you are. And I think gaming is weird. It is like a weird, nerdy, dweeby thing, yet the power fantasy male thing that we just discussed is very prevalent. So like that macho fucking fuck you, I'm better than you.
Competition.
Competition about it, right? But,
trad male competition.
If you're like that type of person and you have the anonymity of being able to say whatever the fuck you want to somebody, you're going to say the most horrible things possible. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just human nature. It's terrible.
We're just talking about this. Like, I've been mostly getting some wholesome people on my team in Valorant. Sometimes I get like the weird, edgy teenage kid, who's just angry at the world, who just gets satisfaction out of making someone else feel bad about their skills or something like that. Every once in a while you get that, but I always try to be nice regardless of what's being said to me. So I just and usually it just changes the way they view like the game, the match, and they don't tend to just attack too much because it's not bothering you. Some people are just nasty. I mean, there's no getting around it. Some people are just they're just angry at the world for some reason. I don't know, something going on at home, something going on at school, whatever it is. It sucks. But kill him with kindness, man. Kill him with kindness, or just don't talk and mute them. That also works too.
And when you get rounded up with people, it's not like you have strategy anyway, right? It's not real strategy. It's not like playing with people and you don't know.
Depends.
Sometimes, right? But not.
When you get into the top ranks, you tend to get people.
Yeah, but I imagine those people care about the game so much that they're not going to be like that, right? In case of
every now and then, I send a friend request to someone I get matched up with randomly if they're friendly and good.
You can tell, yeah.
It happens. Yeah. It happens. It's uncommon, but
I'll always remember when I played Halo on Xbox Live, and there was this Scottish guy I got matched up with who was the most hilarious and helpful Scottish dude I ever had met, and immediately had him on Xbox Live. No idea who or where he was, but I played Halo with him for at least 6 months after that. And then, that was interesting.
And the other side of it is, I feel that talking shit has died. And I loved talking shit back in the day.
You were one of them.
I loved playing Gears.
You think it's died?
Yeah, I think it's like a tax now. There's a difference between talking shit and being hurtful, I would say.
Okay, yeah, because I definitely have heard some shit in Hunt Showdown.
Bitch ass, you suck, or something like that. Like that's talking shit. But when you're saying when you're talking about like you like, oh, you didn't pass kindergarten. No, that's talking shit too. Like, so people go for your jugular, man. Like,
there are like toxic people who are like consistent abusers, right? Like people in League of Legends I used to come across who would spam chat with basically just like the most vitriolic stuff, right?
yes, saying the N-word.
And then there's people who have like, let's say a gamer moment, right? Like a heat of the anger moment where you're like, dude, you fucking suck. That sucks. What the fuck's wrong with you? That I think is like, I don't know, maybe okay. But like in terms of the language that's used in this by Forrest, right, is like, that is not on that. It's kind of more, I think, on the vitriolic toxic side. I think streaming has changed a lot of how the online, forgetting Dr. Disrespect, because that dude's just a fucking douchebag, right? Like, the actual level of the way streaming is, obviously because of the rules on Twitch and because of these heated gamer moments. You know, you see top streamers and they're playing and they're not able to be angry, right? They get angry and they're like, God, fuck, this sucks, right? But they're not able to be vitriolic and disgusting, which they most likely might have been, right? It seems to come with the streamer brand. But I think that influences the people who are watching, who tend to be people who play online multiplayer games. And the language they're going to be using is going to be the language that is used by the streamer. And I think, you know, the more neutral the streamer is, or maybe the less, you know, they get angry, which, you know,
Dr.
to stick
Disrespect is pretty popular. I've been getting...
Yeah, and he's just a massive dick. He's just a dick. And I think that's what draws people to him, right?
I've watched some videos with him, like, just being normal. Like, because it's a persona that he's putting on.
Yeah, but no. Like, I get it,
but
and
yes,
I get that, but no.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Half of him is half of that character, and there's no way. He is a prick, right? Hands up. Like, I'm going to be vitriolic about that guy, because the way he acts influences, like, how it's not like a movie. It's him acting like all the other streamers, which are real people doing real things. It's hard for a lot of people to draw the line between Dr. Disrespect being a, quote, persona fake character and a real streamer who you tune into and like, well, you know, Guy Beam, Dr. Disrespect speaks like this, angry, aggressive, calling Chinese people.
Or someone like Shroud. With Shroud doesn't fucking talk shit, doesn't do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
He complains a little bit, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I think one weird dimension to this is that because of my social hangups and introversion and stuff, I have a really hard time telling the difference between talking shit and shit talk.
Yeah, I know.
Like Matt was saying earlier, the difference between talking shit and the jugular bite, I think, might be harder for me to tell than most normal people in the world.
Yeah. Because I've talked shit to you many times, and you're like, oh, and I'm like, George, no, I'm joking. Yeah.
What do you mean? I'm not a sore loser at all.
Yeah,
That's totally what that was about.
Loser.
No, I'm not. Shut up.
You're a toxic soul loser. That's how bad it is.
No, fuck you. No, I'm not. I lose fine.
Toxic,
I'm so fucking good at losing that you guys are never going to see me win at anything again.
Over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I'll remember those Soul Calibur matches and that Smash forever.
Oh yeah,
especially
I'm gonna remember. I'm gonna remember beating Matt at Dive Kick for 2 whole days straight.
That was a good time, man. That was a fucking good time. And he remembers it wrong. He remembers winning, but he didn't win at all.
There you go. Now you question it. Yeah, okay. It felt like something was missing.
It's like the Capture the Flag game we played with Titanfall 2, and just
what are you talking about? That Capture the Flag game was such wholesome fun. Everyone loved it.
I could hear George's depression banging at the door.
It was so nice being on the team where we couldn't get anything done.
Can't fucking do this. And like one guy, I can't remember.
You were holding everyone from falling below the leaderboard, you know, the scoreboard. You know, you're right there at the bottom being the foundation.
It's the fun of the game that counts.
The best was there was just one guy. I can't remember who it was, but one guy was just like, "No, George, we can do it. You know, if we do this." And George was like, "No, it's impossible. We can't do this.
You have to push together with all your titans. You can't keep solo running.
But you see, Lewis 47 was in there, like, doing it by himself, dude. He was the only one who got through us.
Wasn't it
He was
Elsa?
the only
I think
one,
it was
because we
Elsa,
were
right?
camping you guys good.
Or was that on your team, I think?
You
I think it's time to end the episode. I think it's time to thank you all for listening and to have a wonderful day. And to check out Ryan Lafford for more music and Henry Ying for more background art.
Join the Patreon.
Links are in the description.
I'm going to be streaming soon, guys.
I would love to. You're going to be so good at that, honey.
You are.
I'm going to try. If I fail, I fail. I'm going to try it out.
No, you're going to fly high.
You have the looks, you have the voice. God knows you have the equipment and the
And God
expertise.
knows you probably have the skills as well out of the three of us.
I got some free time, so I want to use it to, if I'm going to play
Yeet
games,
some
I might as well
fools.
play games in front of people and talk to people and stuff. Because I've been
Spread that
enjoying
community.
in the Discord and talking to everyone. And yeah, so.
See that? My fellow Americans. Didn't know what to substitute that with, I guess. If you are not in this Patreon Discord, look, it's convinced Matt to stream again. That is the power of this Discord. You are
I've been
missing.
thinking about streaming for a while.
It is the power to bring back Matt. Ignore what he just said. It pushed him over the edge, and now we have Matt back live on Twitch eventually this week. By next week, he'll say his career's over after a heated gamer moment on Valorant.
After some kid calls me a hard R, and I'm just gonna be like, you know what? Fuck you. Fuck you.
Twitch banned.
Twitch banned.
Get your
That's it.
revenge by filming him in the bathroom.
All right, quick question before we end the episode. When we were talking about Dr. Disrespect, I actually have a thought of like exactly how clean are you supposed to be? Because I'm a grown man, a couple curse words are going to come out, but I do know that kids watch.
Yeah, but you're not going to be racist, right? And like,
no, what the
you're
fuck?
you're on a podcast every week where we talk about shit, right? Like, we swear, we diss stuff. But I think with Dr. Disrespect, and I think the problem is with the audience that is drawn to who he is, right? Because he's like let's be honest, he's kind of like the South Park of the day, right? He's controversial, but the problem with him is that he's controversial in like the ways that don't learn. He's I think he got banned on Twitch because the last thing he was talking about was like Corona fucking conspiracies and like David Icke.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't want the kids wearing a mask.
The final video, he's like talking about David Icke, who is literally a fucking nut job. And like, some of this shit's good. Everybody should read this. And he's got like 500,000 people watching. And you're like, no, don't tell me to read David Icke to 500,000 people.
What, a soccer player?
No, yeah, but like he became like a conspiracy nut job. He's super famous in the
Really?
UK for being an absolute tool of a man. And 5G conspiracies and
He looks like
coronavirus
a tool.
conspiracies. And when you have an audience that big, it's so irresponsible. Like, I combine that with, him being a cheater and also a racist, in the past and filming in people's toilets. He doesn't learn.
Wait,
and it's
what? He was a racist and he filmed in toilets?
He was racist about a Chinese guy and was like racist
okay.
on stream. And then
Well, I mean, Trump does that, so it's okay.
but that's the thing, right? Like,
Oh,
yeah.
fuck everything. Oh, what a stupid timeline to live. Oh, God.
He literally says it multiple times in press conferences, and people literally do not think that guy's racist.
Trump obviously does it, but Trump doesn't say the words that Dr. Disrespect did in terms of like when he got shot. Like,
Worse than the Kung Flu, huh?
Typical.
Jesus Christ, man.
Typical.
I have Asian friends and they get like hassled on the streets. Fuck them.
I have an Asian friend whose parents had to like close down the restaurant for a little while because of this shit. Yeah, like there's people whose livelihoods are at stake out of the anti-Asian racism going on these days.
Love each other, hug each other, Come join the Patreon for us to love you back.
Yeah. Positivity, right? I'm sorry, I brought it down. That's my fault. I brought it down.
And we're out of here, same as every week. Come and join us for the love and fun. Dad and Sons.